Before we begin, remember this. You are not lazy, you are not incapable, and you are not behind in life. Sometimes, you're simply operating inside a system that was never designed to make you free, only functional. This is the story of a young man named Jeff. Jeff Lawrence believed he had done everything right. He grew up in a modest neighborhood where success had a very clear definition. Get educated, find a good job, earn a stable salary, and take care of your family. His parents repeated it like a prayer. His teachers reinforced it. Society applauded it. So Jeff followed the script perfectly. He studied hard, graduated near the top of his class, landed a respectable corporate job at a telecommunications company. The day he received his employment letter, his mother cried tears of pride. A secure future, his father said. And for a while, it felt exactly like that. The comfort of the first paycheck. The first salary hit his bank account on a Friday afternoon. Jeff stared at the notification longer than he'd ever stared at anything. It felt like proof that he had made it. He could finally breathe. He moved into a nicer apartment, bought a modern smartphone, took his parents out for dinner, began dressing sharper. His confidence grew with every upgrade. Life felt progressive, structured, responsible. But slowly, almost invisibly, something changed. The expenses began to grow alongside the income. Rent increased when he moved closer to work. He financed a car because commuting was exhausting. Subscriptions piled up. Weekends became more expensive. Every raise felt like relief, but only briefly. Within months, the higher salary became necessary just to maintain his lifestyle. He wasn't building wealth, he was upgrading obligations. The invisible ceiling. 3 years into his job, Jeff was promoted. More responsibility, more meetings, more pressure. More money too. But something strange happened. Despite earning nearly double what he made at the start, he felt more anxious than ever. He couldn't afford to lose his job now. Too many bills depended on it. The car payment, the apartment, his younger sister's school fees he had proudly taken over. One evening, after staying late at the office, Jeff looked around at the dimly lit cubicles. Everyone was still working. Everyone looked tired. And it hit him. Every one of them was trading time for money. Hour by hour, day by day, year by year. If they stopped showing up, the money stopped too. That realization unsettled him. The layoff scare. Then came the rumor. The company was restructuring. Whispers floated between departments. Emails became vague. Managers avoided direct answers. For the first time, Jeff felt fear. Not because he didn't work hard, not because he wasn't competent, but because he had no backup plan. If his salary disappeared, everything would collapse. He realized something painful. He wasn't secure. He was dependent. The stability he trusted wasn't true security. It was a fragile arrangement. The layoffs eventually happened, though he survived that round. But the fear lingered. And fear, when faced honestly, can become clarity. A shift in perspective. One Sunday afternoon, while reviewing his finances, Jeff noticed something sobering. For years, every dollar he earned had flowed outward, to bills, comforts, and temporary pleasures. Nothing was flowing back in. He owned nothing that generated income. If he slept, the money stopped. If he rested, the money stopped. If he was sick, the money stopped. He had built a life supported by income, but not supported by assets. That night, he made a quiet decision. He wouldn't quit his job, but he would stop depending on it alone. Jeff began small. He reduced unnecessary spending, delayed upgrading his car, canceled subscriptions he barely used. Instead of increasing his lifestyle with every raise, he redirected a portion of his income into investments. He started learning about the stock market, studied local real estate opportunities, took online courses on digital skills. After work, instead of scrolling mindlessly through social media, he spent an hour building something of his own. A small online consulting service based on the expertise he had developed at his job. It was exhausting at first. He questioned himself often, is this worth it? What if it fails? But he reminded himself, the real risk was doing nothing. Months passed. The consulting side project made its first modest profit. It wasn't life-changing money, but it was different. It arrived without him clocking in. It came from value he created, not hours he sold. That small payment changed his mindset forever. For the first time, he experienced income not directly tied to his physical presence. It felt powerful. It felt like oxygen. Years later, Jeff's life looked different. He still worked, but by choice, not fear. His investments generated steady returns. His consulting service had grown into a structured business. He purchased a modest rental property that produced monthly income. His salary was no longer his lifeline. It was simply one stream among several. And with that diversification came something far more valuable than money. Peace. He no longer panicked at company rumors. He no longer felt trapped by obligations. He no longer feared economic shifts the way he once did, because he had built ownership. Jeff's story wasn't about rejecting employment, it was about rejecting dependency. The salary itself was never the enemy. The trap was believing it was enough. Working hard is honorable. Providing for family is noble. Stability matters. But true freedom comes from building assets alongside income. From understanding that time is limited and trading all of it for money will always create a ceiling. From realizing that wealth grows when money works for you, not only when you work for it. One evening, sitting on his balcony overlooking the city lights, Kofi reflected on his journey. He smiled, not because he was the richest man in his neighborhood, but because he had options. He could continue his job. He could expand his business. He could take a break if he needed to. He wasn't trapped. And that, he realized, was the true definition of wealth. Not endless luxury, not flashy success, but freedom. The freedom to choose, and that freedom began the moment he decided his salary would no longer be his only plan. Now hear this. From the time we're children, we're taught a very simple formula for success. Study hard, get good grades, find a stable job, work consistently, earn a salary, retire someday. It sounds safe, predictable, responsible. But what if that formula was designed to keep you comfortable, not wealthy? What if the very thing you've been told is security is actually the cage? Let's break it down. A salary feels safe. Every month, money arrives. You can plan your bills. You can budget. You can breathe. But here's the hidden truth. When your entire life depends on one source of income, you are not secure. You are dependent. If that job disappears, so does your stability. And in today's world, layoffs happen overnight. Companies restructure. Industries shift. Artificial intelligence replaces roles. Economic downturns shake everything. Your salary is stable until it's not. And the more comfortable you become, the harder it is to imagine life without it. That's how the trap begins. Here's something most people never notice. You get a raise, you feel proud, accomplished. Then what happens? You upgrade. Maybe a better apartment, a newer car, more subscriptions, better clothes, more dining out. Your lifestyle expands to match your income. And suddenly, that raise doesn't feel like progress. It feels necessary. Now you need the higher salary just to maintain your life. You're running faster, but you're not moving forward. This is how people earning twice as much still feel financially stressed, because the system encourages consumption, not ownership. When you work for a salary, you are trading time for money. 1 hour of your life equals a specific amount of income, but time is limited. You only have 24 hours a day. You can't double your time. You can't pause it. You can't earn it back. So your income has a ceiling, because your time has a ceiling. Even if you get promoted, even if you work overtime, even if you hustle non-stop, your earnings are still tied to how much of yourself you can give away. That's not wealth. Wealth is when money is not directly connected to your hours. Wealth is when income continues, even when you're not actively working, and that's a completely different game. Here's where it gets deeper. A salary doesn't just pay your bills. It shapes your mindset. It trains you to think in terms of security rather than growth. You begin to ask, how do I avoid risk? How do I keep this safe? How do I protect what I have? But wealth builders ask different questions. How do I create value? How do I build assets? How do I multiply what I earn? The difference isn't intelligence, it's perspective. When you depend entirely on a paycheck, risk feels dangerous. But when you build assets, risk becomes strategic. The salary mindset focuses on preservation. The ownership mindset focuses on expansion. Here's a powerful shift. Most people spend their income on expenses, rent or mortgage, car payments, food, entertainment, phones, clothes. None of these are bad. They're part of life. But if everything you earn goes into expenses, you are maintaining life, not building wealth. Wealth grows when you use income to purchase assets. Assets are things that generate money, investments, businesses, rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, intellectual property, digital products. The salary trap keeps you busy earning, but not building. And without assets, you must keep working forever. We're told, work for 40 years, then retire and enjoy life. But think about that. You give the healthiest, most energetic decades of your life to a job. You postpone dreams. You delay travel. You sacrifice time with family. All for a promise that someday, when you're older and slower, you'll finally live. And even then, retirement depends on savings that may or may not be enough. Inflation rises. Medical costs increase. Life expectancy changes. The future becomes uncertain. What if instead of postponing life, you built a system that gives you freedom earlier? That's the difference between working for money and building something that works for you. Look around. Advertisements constantly tell you what to buy. New phone models every year. Fashion seasons. Limited time offers. Luxury upgrades. You are encouraged to spend immediately, not invest patiently. Credit cards make it easier, loans make it faster, monthly payments make it seem affordable, and suddenly you're locked into obligations that require your salary to survive. The system thrives when you consume, but wealth grows when you produce and own. Now here's the honest part. Even when people understand this, they stay in the trap. Why? Fear. Fear of losing stability, fear of failing, fear of looking foolish, fear of uncertainty. A guaranteed paycheck feels safer than an uncertain opportunity. But growth has always lived on the other side of uncertainty. That doesn't mean quit your job recklessly. It means don't let your job be your only strategy. Build skills beyond your role. Start something small. Invest consistently. Learn about money. Create multiple streams. Freedom is built gradually, not suddenly. The biggest transformation isn't financial, it's mental. You stop seeing yourself as an employee who earns. You start seeing yourself as a creator who builds. You stop asking, "How much do they pay me?" You start asking, "What value can I create?" That shift changes everything. Because income from a job is limited to what someone is willing to pay you. Income from value creation can scale far beyond that. This isn't about hating jobs. Jobs can be honorable, they can be meaningful, they can fund your beginnings. The problem is dependency, not employment. The goal is optionality. To wake up and know you work because you choose to, not because you're forced to. You stay because you enjoy it, not because you're trapped by bills. That's real power. Here's how the escape begins. Increase financial awareness. Spend intentionally. Invest before you upgrade your lifestyle. Build skills that generate independent income. Think long-term instead of paycheck to paycheck. You don't need millions to start. You need awareness, because once you see the trap, you can't unsee it. The salary trap isn't about money alone. It's about time, freedom, choice, control over your own life. Working hard is not the problem. Working hard without building ownership is. You deserve more than survival. You deserve freedom. And that journey doesn't begin when you quit your job. It begins the moment you decide your paycheck will no longer be your only plan. Start small. Think bigger. Build wisely. Your future self is depending on it.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoy the story, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories like this.